Do your pedal changes sound choppy? You are not the only one. Choppy pedal changes are actually the #1 pedaling problem amongst students. And in this video, I'm going to show you the most effective exercise that I use to get rid of choppy pedal changes once and for all. So first, before I share the exercise, let's take a look at why does your pedal change sound choppy in the first place. Pedal changes usually sound choppy because of the wrong timing. So instinctively, everybody changes pedal at the wrong moment, right? So kind of natural is first to kind of change the pedal and then to do the next chord. So you hear that actually there sounds, it doesn't sound smooth, right? As opposed to that sounds smooth and this sounds disjointed. So you have to make sure that you actually time it properly. If you want to change pedal, change it after you play the notes. So first comes your hand and then comes your foot. If I do it very slow, you hear actually the sounds mixing. That's because I first play the next chord before I change. Obviously, this needs to be sped up. And I have other videos actually explaining the timing of pedaling in detail. So first of all, you need to make sure that your timing is perfect. But even though I knew the proper timing of the pedaling, it still didn't mean that I could implement that into my pieces, into my playing. It's one thing to know something theoretically, and then there's another thing to apply it, right? So even though you might know the proper technique for changing, applying it into the piece might be difficult. So when I started playing four hands, that was the time when I really fixed my pedal. Specifically when I was sitting on the left side, because that is where you actually do the pedal. The person who's sitting on the left side when you play four hands does the pedal for the person on the right side. So that basically forced me to really, really pay attention to my pedaling. I'll give you an example and then I'll give you an exercise that you can apply when you don't have a four hands partner. But perhaps it's a nice idea to get started. Playing four hands is really fun. Okay, so here we've got a passage from the Gavrilin Waltz. I don't know if you've heard us play this. I think we have some shorts of us playing it. It's a really fun piece. So basically I'm playing a passage and I'm not changing where I would usually change. I'm changing for Dimitar. I'm changing in very unnatural places. So here I'm changing not on the first beat, because we want to keep Dimitar's note here in the pedal. So it's very unnatural not to change on the first beat, right? It's so natural to change on the first beat. So here we go. We change and then no change and then change. And again, here comes change, no change. So that in itself was already a challenge, but now for the exercise. Now I'm going to do the exercise in separate hands, and this is something you can do as well, whether you're playing four hands or not. You can practice pedal separate hands. You might think that's very easy, but here comes actually the trick. In this bar, I have to change it on the third beat. Even though I'm not playing the right hand, I have to change it still. The same goes true for when I'm playing the right hand alone. So here I'm changing, but not playing, changing, but not playing, changing, but not playing, changing, but not playing. And that is much more difficult than it sounds. So if you do this exercise and you do it very consistently, let's say the coming weeks, the coming months, you very consistently write down your pedaling, practice it with separate hands, very patiently, you're going to notice a shift because you're going to go from subconscious pedal use to conscious pedal use. And that is what you need. Even though you know the proper technique and you know the timing of when to press the pedal, the problem is you're so distracted with all the other things, pedaling gets shifted to the background and your pedaling becomes choppy or unpredictable because you are not paying enough attention to it. And this exercise forces you to become conscious about pedaling. Becoming conscious about pedaling is one of the best things in the world because it honestly takes your playing to a completely new level. So either find a four hands partner. No, I'm just kidding. You can absolutely do this exercise just with separate hands. You can also do it with, if you find this difficult, you can also do it with metronome. So separate hands with the metronome because the metronome is going to give you those beats. Even if you're not playing the left hand, it's going to give you the beats of when the left hand is supposed to change. So you can still kind of feel the beat there. So choppy pedaling is usually caused by a too early change. Even if you know this, and when you are paying attention, you can actually do it right. When you're playing a piece, it's difficult to implement because pedal usually becomes a bit subconscious. With this exercise of practicing pedal very consciously with separate hands, even if your hands are not playing, you still make the change, you're going to get into the habit of really treating pedaling as something very conscious, of becoming very conscious of your pedaling. And that is going to fix your choppy pedaling for once and for all. I very much would like to know how this works out for you, so leave me a comment down below. If you want to check out the videos where I discuss pedaling technique in very much detail, if you feel like you want to know a little bit more in depth about when to change exactly, you can check out this video over here. Thank you so much for watching and see you next week.